How's it going, guys? Yordle Swaggins here. Welcome back to another video. This will be another matchup guide. It's long overdue, and I finally got around to making this. Today, we will be covering the Ambessa matchup, and how to play accurately versus her, and how to win lane every single time. Let's get right into it. Alright, first let's go into the rooms briefly. Grasp the Undying is very good into Ambessa, because she will always be taking short trades with you, because Volibear will always win an extended battle with Ambessa because of your W bite. So Grasp is very useful for those very brief trades that you will always be taking in lane. Alright, next we will be talking about the strengths and weaknesses of Ambessa's kit. Although Ambessa is melee, she plays very similar to Aatrox in the fact that she has a lot of range in her kit. But with this, she has similar downsides. For one, she has incredibly long cooldowns on all of her abilities, especially in the early game. This means that if you are paying attention to her ability usage, you are able to capitalize on those windows where her abilities are on cooldown and you have the potential to get great engages off. Also, a side note, during the very beginning of Ambessa's animations for her Q, W, and E, the moment before she dashes after using the ability, if you are very close to her with Volibear and you stun her with your Q at the moment she starts the animation, you will actually cancel her dash. This is very crucial to getting amazing trades off in lane that she would otherwise not expect, and it very much screws her ability to outspace you and kite you. Now, ideally, the Ambessa will keep her distance on you, so this will not happen often, but it can happen sometimes, so you need to be aware of it. Ideally, the Ambessa will be spacing you quite well, and you will not be able to get these type of combos off all the time, and so you need to be more ambitious with your combos. Alright, but first let's cover the early game laning phase initially. Starting off the lane, all you want to be doing is just last hitting the minions, whether that's with your E or your autos. You just want to be slow pushing the lane, essentially. Once the second wave comes, that's when you want to begin hard pushing and looking for a level 2 engage. It's okay if she hits you with a Q or 2, it's completely normal. For you to be able to get prio, you're going to be taking some damage. Getting a level 2 engage off like this is very good because Ambessa is very weak in the early game, especially to Volibear. And as I said before, you win any all-in versus her, so it's very dangerous for her to be taking these fights when you have a level advantage. If she uses both of her Q dashes like this clip, then you can look for an aggressive E like this. But this is very dangerous and it's not reliable, so I would recommend being careful when you do this, but always look for the wave prio most of all. Because like both of these clips, they can result in her being low, which can result in clips like this where you can flash combo her. Obviously this will not happen every game, but this is your goal, is to whittle her down and get combos off on her when she's least expecting it. This is another great example here. Ambessa goes in for both of her Qs here, and then right after she finishes, I go in for an aggressive E. Now again, this spell is unreliable to hit in lane, so it is not always ideal to use it, and sometimes you need to save it to gain wave prio if she contests the wave prio. In most cases, you can do this for very early aggressive trades. But again, in the same clip here, I am also still looking for that level 2 engage off. Your level 2 engage off is very crucial in the early game to get great trades off on the Ambessa. In all three of these examples I have shown, every single one of them has resulted in Ambessa being below 50% HP. This is what you were looking for. This is the ideal scenario. As I talked about earlier, pay attention to her ability usage. Right here, she uses both of her Q and her E in front of me, and then goes up for the caddy. Paying attention to her ability usage, I know she only has her W available to her. So now I know I can get on top of her for free and get an amazing trade-off. This is the perfect time to go for an amazing trade, which actually ends up resulting in a kill here. Alright, I want to go over this clip briefly for a second again. Notice how when I run at her, I actually hold on to my combo. This is very important because I know she only has her W shield up, so I run at her to bait her W, and then I wait for the shield duration to dissipate. That's when I hit her with my combo. If I did not do that, then this would not have resulted in a kill. Let's go. Eventually, people will always die for the caddies, and I respect it. Now, I just want to continue to nail on the head that you will always win an all-in engagement versus Ambessa. Always. Level 2, level 3, she always has to space you. She can never beat you in an all-out fight. So if you were ever able to close the distance, you will win. This is just another brief example of me canceling her dash. And remember, this does a lot of damage, and this will be a massive winning trade for you every single time. In order to hit good combos on Ambessa if you're not incredibly close, bait out her abilities and wait for her to use a good amount of her dashes. Once she uses a good amount of her dashes, you can look for a potential engage, which is more favorable for you. Alright, another way to get good trades off in lane versus Ambessa is actually when you run at her and you're not close enough to cancel her dash, but you're still close enough to get the Q off as she's dashing, you can actually still use this as a way to get good trades off. As you Q at her, you predict where she's dashing away, so usually just straight away from you, and then you throw the lightning ahead of you, and then you will stun her into your lightning. This is still a good way to get an amazing trade-off, not as good as the previous one, but still very good. Here are a couple more examples of me running at her and then throwing my lightning behind her as I'm running at her and then stunning her into it. This works a lot more consistently than you would imagine, and this will be one of the more consistent ways to get good trades versus Ambessa. Now, once she gets Eclipse, these type of trades will sometimes not be as good, but they'll still be favorable for you. So just keep that in mind. Now, assuming you're keeping even in lane, you're getting a kill or two, and you're even in CS or ahead in CS, you will continue to beat Ambessa in any 1v1 for the foreseeable future, even into the mid game. But as the game continues on and you get closer to the late game, Ambessa does start to outscale you quite hard. So you have to remember that as the game goes on, you will not be able to side lane versus her as easy, and she will actually be able to 1v1 you and space you far easier because she has much lower cooldowns and much higher damage. This makes it much harder for Volibear to deal with Ambessa during the later game, but it's still doable. You just have to play much more consistent, as any mistake can lead to a death. Alright, lastly I want to talk about items. For Ambessa, I just follow the same item set that I usually do for my normal Volibear guide video, which is just Cosmic Drive into Iceborne Gauntlet, specifically, which is very good into Ambessa here. So those items right there are great, and then, you know, building into maybe even Rocket Belt is fine into Ambessa. Cosmic Drive, Rocket Belt, very good, very high mobility, and good gap closing potential to get on Ambessa. You're a little bit more squishy, but it's fine. As long as you get an Iceborne on your third item, you're good. In conclusion, Volibear versus Ambessa is a Volibear favored matchup if you know what you're doing. If you've applied the concept I've talked about in the beginning of this video of how to use your E and how to cancel her dash and how to stun her into your E, you will win basically every single trade. And this is how you win this lane. As you scale and get into the later game, she will start to scale more than you. So you have to have a game plan on how to capitalize a lead on her in the early game and be able to translate it into a win by using that lead in a team fights or split pushing, etc, etc. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. I will be making more matchup guides in the future, so please leave a like and please subscribe and comment below what type of champions you would also like me to cover in the future for any matchup guides for Volibear specifically. Alright, appreciate you guys. Later.